CIMA Truck covers all the important areas in a transportation company. As we call it, an all-in-one solution because it integrates dispatch, maintenance, and the administrative area all in one place. Among the benefits we can list the reduction of maintenance cost, invoicing increase, simplification of operational processes, it improves the profitability of the trucks, provides total control of the routes, and others. Now, we're going to explain the operative flow in a transportation company. Everything begins in the customer service area of a company. Here, the personnel is in charge of generating the quotes. CIMA Truck allows us to calculate the rates with different kinds of algorithms. The system has configurable costs, and it allows us to use multiple modules to create different kinds of quotes. In case of an authorization or a discount, the system allows us to guarantee the utility range and displays the highest acceptable discount limit that won't affect the utility. Once the quote is approved, the marketing area generates the price of the service to be given to the client. CIMA Truck handles client rates and carriers, thus giving us the opportunity to measure the profitability on every trip. Now, let's talk about the dispatch operations. Once we receive the client's requirement, we can allocate the resources to be delivered in order to complete the trip. Said resources are the vehicles, boxes, and available drivers. The different kinds of trips that CIMA Truck works with are normal trip, delivery, volume, dedicated, milk run, cross-dock, and empty trip. CIMA Truck also manages two types of trips, one that is generated on the fly and the other one that is a programmed trip in which the assets are programmed for a future trip in a week, month, or days, and resources can be allocated in order to have every trip perfectly organized. The next step is to create the travel documents. The documentation area generates the documents needed by the driver in relation with the load and the trip. One of the most important documents in the industry is the load order, which is customizable according to client needs. Another important document is the instructions letter, which contains instructions on the mode of delivery for the load, the number of origins, the destinations, and schedules. This letter can be attached to our route map in order for the driver to check the most convenient route. Now, with all the documents complete, the next step is giving the resources to the driver. The vouchers and expenses area creates the fuel vouchers and calculates travel expenses. The system allows you to print or generate the vouchers automatically or manually. You may ask the cashier to create vouchers manually. However, in most cases, the expenses for each route will be well defined and the system will calculate the expenses for every trip automatically. The benefit of this resides in the fact that those amounts can't be modified. The yard is the place where the assets depart and arrive and where all the vehicles are checked. Some companies have problems in this operations section as they don't know the location of their trailers or boxes, which are loaded and which ones are empty. However, with CIMA Truck, you will be able to have complete control over the vehicles and boxes at your company. Now the vehicle's in transit, there's another important step, the vehicle's follow-up. You need to be sure the vehicles follow the delivery schedule and that the client will be immediately contacted should there be a problem along the way. That's why it's crucial to be able to send and receive macros efficiently by means of the interface with the tracking system. This enables you to monitor the real gate out, gate in, and delivery times, which are all registered in the system automatically, and also what trips had expenses due to tolls and which toll card was used to pay. The deliveries signify the end of the trip. The client signs the end of the trip and hands the documents that may be allocated again in a new trip. Even though the trip has ended as far as the client is concerned, in this part, the operation continues with the administrative process, which will not finish until the invoice is sent and approved by the client. The invoice is usually sent along with documents proving that the trip was completed successfully. In the documents reception, the driver needs to complete the process by handing in all the documents. To verify the accuracy of the information in said documents, the system has a column showing the original document, in order for you to compare it with the documents handed in by the driver. But also by using CIMA Truck barcode feature, the document reception is extremely easy to monitor. You will save time in order to accelerate the administrative process and avoid frauds. As soon as the driver hands in all the documents, the process is completed and payroll comes into play. The system automatically notifies the ERP or the accounting system so that the personnel from the invoicing department will generate the invoice for that trip. Continuing with the process, we have the voucher settlement. Here, the driver goes to the expenses and vouchers area to prove that the travel expenses are justified. If everything is in order, the system matches the advanced payment in order to continue the process. If the driver is unable to justify any part of the expenses, the system will automatically create an invoice for the driver that he will have to pay upon receiving payment for the trip in question. Human Resources is in charge of the payroll. This could be generated by driver or in batch, for every single trip or every week. Furthermore, depending on the payroll settings for each individual driver, the system provides information on the driver's salary and allows us to make any charges necessary to any of the drivers. The reason for this is that if during the inspection of the vehicle there is an anomaly, such as a broken mirror, the system generates a record for the following trip indicating that this driver owes a mirror. On the other hand, you can also apply punctuality bonuses or any other kind of bonus you choose. All the information concerning payroll is generated and sent to the ERP or the accounting system automatically. Back at the yard is where the trip ends. The unit enters the inspection status and it is revised with the help of a checklist, which is defined according to the company needs. The personnel verifies that everything is in order, and in case there's anything wrong, they write a report and the system generates a work request that will be reflected in a work order. At the same time, the vehicle's status will change and it will be sent to maintenance. The system allows us to manage and control all the preventive maintenance. Thanks to the system, you will always know when the next maintenance for an asset comes due and what kind of maintenance it is. Thus, you will be able to prepare your personnel and all the necessary materials or spare parts each month and hire any additional help in case there is no one available to repair a certain asset from your work order. The tires are an important part of the vehicle. The system has a tire control module from where you control and identify the wear and tear as well as the mileage of every tire in order to change them as necessary. This gives us important gauges where we can see the type of tire and the total count for each kind. It also gives us information on renewal data and mileage. One of the most important aspects of this feature is that it gives you control over the state of your tires. Once you've got the information in the system, the question is, how can I extract the information with the technology the solution is based on? You can use Microsoft OLAP cubes that are a way of presenting the data graphically in 2, 3, or 4 dimensions. Or you can use the OLAP technique that lets us generate the graphic by using Excel and in that way represent the analysis of the information. CIMA Truck has some gauges that give us specific information on the maintenance area. You can check the percentage of preventive versus corrective maintenance on different levels, such as on an overall level, the operational level, or the routes and vehicles profitability. Other kinds of gauges presented in CIMA Truck are the dashboards. They move in real time, so we can spot changes in the allocation of units instantly. We are able to see the profitability as an operative center, check the asset status, overall profitability, and control expenses.